Assalamu alaikum, this is Khalid, and we are starting our third match. We have Omar Saeed versus Ali Al-Amiri. Let's switch to their cameras. There they are, and we are starting in a few seconds. And we saw both players in earlier matches. Omar Saeed has been a long time player, usually playing poison teams, but lately he started to switch things up. And there they are starting to choose their teams. As we saw earlier, their teams are on Omar's side is low panic. Actually, they started pretty. Oh, what's? Oh, okay. Omar checking the summary page, I guess. Lopani, Nido Queen, Pelipper, Eagle Slash, Naganadal, Tapu Bulu. While on Ali's side is Kangaskhan, Landorus, Tapu Fini, Volcarona, Tapu Koko, and Eagle Slash. Amar's teams Amar always loves to use the gimmicky or what people would most likely call gimmicky teams. Usually going for less popular options. I remember earlier on he was using Needle King. Later he started. Then later I started telling him, well, Needle Queen is actually bulkier, and Needle King's speed is already pretty awkward, and you probably want to use some speed control on that thing. So, in any case, Lopani and Needle Queen from Omar's side, while we see Landorus and Kangaskhan from Ali's side. Interesting to note here, Lopani is faster, so it can stop Kangaskhan before it goes for anything. While Landorus, I believe, is faster than Needle Queen, but I do believe Needle Queen can be built to survive an earthquake very easily. So maybe, not sure what we might be seeing here, but we'll see. Though Needle Queen, I'm not sure if it's going to stay in to a Landorus, regardless if Lopani goes for the fake out on it or not. And Kangaskhan can easily just go for the fake out on the Needle Queen. It's really just a battle of fake outs at this point. We see Mega Evolution on the Kangaskhan. Interestingly enough, the Lopani is not Mega Evolving right now. Going straight for a fake out, flinching it, while Landorus going for a U-turn onto the Lopani, doing some damage. Let's see what switches in from Ali's side. Ali having some interesting Pokemon to pick from. There we see the Tapu Fini coming in. Though hopefully the Tapu Fini is faster than the Needle Queen, as I do not think Tapu Fini would want to take a poison sludge bomb from the Needle Queen. But we saw the Ice Beam onto the Landorus slot. The Tapu Fini switching obviously to be able to take in that Ice Beam. Good switching by Ali here. But at the same time, Tapu Fini is right now also threatened by that Needle Queen. But Omar deciding to switch out the Needle Queen, not wanting to take a super effective water move, especially considering I think Tapu Fini being faster naturally. We see the Mega Evolution from the Lopani, Drain Punch onto the Kangaskhan, going to do some damage. That Kangaskhan is very bulky, nothing much damage. There we see the Ice Punch on the Needle Queen slot. Tapu Bulu not liking it, taking over half of its HP. Then there we see the Moonblast onto the Lopani. I don't think it will survive. Actually, goes down, all the way down to the red with the special attack drop, though that wouldn't matter much. The guy's turn going to heal some HP. Omar not in a particularly good position considering Kangaskhan being faster and also being pretty bulky, able to take a drain punch. I don't think Lopunny would be able to do much against the Kangaskhan with the drain punch, unless we see a critical hit. Kangaskhan can easily just go for an ice punch onto the Tapu Bulu and knock it out, while Tapu Fini can just go for another Moonblast onto the Lopunny, or even a Muddy Water would be nice. Okay, we see this switch out from the Tapu Fini, and we see the Landorus possibly not wanting to take too much damage from the drain punch from the from the Lopunny. Here we see the Ice Punch mode more should be enough to take out the Tapu Bulu, but actually activating the Pinch Berry, healing it up back to over half. And Tapu Bulu is back to a little less HP than it was earlier. And then we see the Wood Hammer doing not enough damage to knock out the Kangaskhan. Very unfortunate. That is one bulky Kangaskhan. We've seen it take a Psychium Z from a Tapu Lele out of terrain and surviving with just as much HP, and the Wood Hammer failing to knock it out. Very unfortunate for Omar, but that Kangaskhan is definitely putting in a lot of work for Ali with its bulk. Just sitting there, Kangaskhan is able to threaten a lot of Omar's Pokemon. Even Lopunny, considering Lopunny isn't even doing half of its HP as damage with the Drain Punch. There you see the Protect from the Nidoqueen, and the Ice Punch onto the Nidoqueen, hoping to do some damage. And we see the U-turn onto the Tapu Bulu. Not enough, shouldn't be enough. Yeah, Tapu Bulu surviving with some HP. We're probably not going. I don't think we'll be seeing the Tapu Fini switch in. Actually, we do see the Tapu Fini. Now, will we actually see the Wood Hammer onto the Tapu Fini, or once again on the Kangaskhan? Wood Hammer onto the Kangaskhan, taking out what little HP it had. Tapu Bulu still surviving, though not very long considering just about any hit should be enough to take care of it. Landorus coming in, intimidating the Tapu Bulu. I do believe the Tapu Bulu has been intimidated before, so right now it's not going to do much. But Omar still has all 4 of his Pokemon, while Ali is at 3. But I do believe Ali is in a better position here. Something like an Earthquake and Muddy Water should do a lot. Like even if Ali ends up hitting his own Pokemon, an Earthquake here would be actually pretty nice. So we see the switch out, and actually the Pelipper coming in. Or even a Rock Slide from the Landorus would be huge. We see the Lopunny coming in, taking Tapu Fini's slot. Probably not wanting to lose either of his Pokemon. Tapu Fini using Protect. I don't think we've seen who's faster between the Fini and the Tapu Bulu. So pretty obvious. Ali doesn't want to risk figuring out who is faster. I suppose he can do it if he wins this game in the next round and take the risk, but being game 1, I don't think he wants to risk that just yet. Pelipper here could be carrying Wild Guard. Would be interesting to see what happens. Wild Guard would do pretty well. Landros and Tapfini together. Tapfini even, it's like with the rain up, it would be like super tempted to just go for a muddy water. Though Moonblast is usually great on a paper, depending on how bulky the helper is built. So usually they don't run any bulk. Here you see the muddy water into the wide guard, blocking the muddy water. We'll see if the Landros, it goes for the rock slide and is also blocked by the wide guard. Let's see what Nidoqueen is going to go for. Sludge bomb onto the Tapfini. I don't think it'll survive. Clean knockout by the sludge bomb. Omar doing pretty well on that on the board positioning side. Seeing his situation, it was pretty obvious Landros was going to go for an earthquake and switching in Pelipper and sacking his own Lopunny for the earthquake to safely bring in the Nidoqueen and allowing Pelipper to go for a very safe wide guard, and Nidoqueen knocking out something in return. Volcarona here I don't think is in a very good position. Landros probably not carrying any status moves, possibly being Assault Vest. Most Landros right now are carrying Assault Vest, so there we see the Volcarona using Protect, not wanting to take a Scald or anything from the Pelipper, but Landros going for an Earthquake right into what could have been a wide guard, but let's see if we can knock it out. Not enough. And we see the Sludge Bomb onto the Volcarona, interestingly enough, and Scald onto the Volcarona. He really wanted to get rid of the Volcarona. I don't think that was the correct play, considering Landros is most probably Assault Vest. So that means Omar could lose his Nidoqueen, especially since we saw Volcarona using Rage Powder earlier. It can very easily take an Ice Beam. Sorry, can very easily take an Ice Beam from the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen going for the Protect. After having seen the Volcarona go for the Protect, now it's going for the Quiver Dance, boosting up its defenses, but let's see if it can take a rain boosted Scald or whatever water move it has. Rock Slide doing a little less than half its HP, but Pelipper flinching, very unfortunate. Looking pretty tough, but at the same time, Ali is actually losing a lot of time here. Pelipper going for the wide guard. I'm noticing the players are playing faster now, especially Ali doesn't want to lose anything. There we see the Giga Drain knocking out the Nidoqueen. We saw the white guard protecting itself from the rock slide, and right now Ali is actually in a pretty good position. He's going to go for a fiery dance onto the Tapu Bulu, knocking it out. And right now we have Pelipper just sitting there. I mean, he could just spam wide guard, but it's not going to do much. Very unfortunate flinch on Omar's side. He could have had it, but the flinch was pretty painful for him. And at the same time, Ali's insistence on using Earthquake despite the potential wild card. very good game by both players. Let's see how either both players decide to adjust. Going into game 2 with Ali up by 1 game. I'm still curious which Pokemon is faster, the Tapu Bulu or the Tapu Fini. The Tapu Bulu being from Omar's side while Ali having the Tapu Fini. I'm curious if Omar can turn it around and adjust accordingly and take this next game. So I'm curious about Omar's decision to delay his Lopunny's Mega Evolution. I'm not sure what ability it might be benefiting off of, but I'm sure he has his reasons. He knows his team better than I do. Oops, I realized I actually forgot to switch over the screens. Sorry for that. And we are starting round 2 with Ali being up 1 game. Just a side note, Ali is actually playing my copy of the game, so I am not the one playing. It's Ali and not me, as you can see in the bottom player cams. So there we see Lopunny and Nidoqueen from Omar's side, and Kangaskhan Landorus from Ali's side. There we see the Intimidate coming off, reducing the Lopunny's attack. Landorus not in a particularly good position with the potential fake out and an Ice Beam from the Nidoqueen. Will be interesting to see if it decides to stay in and predict a different sort of play from Omar's. Kangaskhan is potentially safe unless Omar decides to double into it, but Kangaskhan is most likely going to go for a fake out right here, though most probably on the Landorus and not the Kangaskhan, as the fake out onto the... Yeah, okay. If he went for the fake out onto the Kangaskhan, Landorus can easily just go for an Earthquake and do tons of damage, despite the Ice Beam from the Nidoqueen. There we see the Mega Evolution. This time Omar opting to Mega Evolve right there from turn 1, going for the probably fake out. Both players probably going for the fake out. But let's see what if they decide to do anything else. Lopunny going for the fake out onto the Tapu Fini, double edge from the Kangaskhan into the Lopunny, going to do huge damage. Not enough to knock it out, however, but in return does a lot of damage into itself. And Omar actually predicting the Landorus switching into the Tapu Fini. A very, very good read from Omar. Might be, I do believe this kind of read in the beginning of the game can turn around the game so much. Now we see Landorus is back in the field, but having lost his Tapu Fini earlier might be a bit too much. But let's see if Omar can do anything about it. He can still bring in his Tapu Bulu and safely take an Earthquake, even after a double edge from the Kangaskhan. Now here's the thing with the Landorus. It can use Earthquake, but all of Ali's team are grounded, so it's almost never safe to just earthquake. You always have to either protect an earthquake or take the earthquake damage. And I don't believe any of his Pokemon are actually resistant to it. There you see the... okay. Ali, by mistake, went for a second fake out. But it's not the first turn. Actually, not the second fake out, but it's more like a non-first turn fake out. Probably pretty painful. He went for the Sludge Bomb onto the... onto the Kangaskhan, and Landorus not doing too much damage on either of his Pokemon, and all that damage pretty much was recovered with the grassy terrain. Not a very good turn from Ali. Going for the Ice Punch this time onto the Nidoqueen, going to do quite a lot of damage. Let's see if he decides to go for Earthquake. No, actually he's going for the U-turn onto the Tapu Bulu, not doing too much. Let's see what he decides to bring in. We see the Volcarona coming in, threatening the Tapu Bulu, but at the same time the very safely able to take the Ice Beam. There we see the Wood Hammer onto the Kangaskhan, knocking it out, and Omar is up 2 Pokemon over Ali at this point. Ali being down 2 Pokemon, losing his Tapu Fini in the first turn, and having just lost his Kangaskhan. Ali is out of options for switching. He's no longer able to switch his Pokemon around. So let's see how he's able to turn this around. Volcarona can go for an Fiery Dance onto the Tapu Bulu, hopefully doing some damage. Nidoqueen being at like quarter HP, not going to like any damage taken, but going for the Rock Slide shouldn't knock it out, but the chance for flinch is there. Going for the Ice Beam, possibly knocking out the Landorus. Oh my god, it was a very strong Ice Beam, but it wasn't enough to knock it out. That's a very bulky Landorus, especially considering the Nidoqueen's ability, Sheer Force, possibly boosted by Life Orb. But unfortunately, Landorus was able to take that Ice Beam. So it lives lives for another turn. And the question is, will Tapu Bulu stay in and take the Fiery Dance or switch out? There we see the switch out. We see the Naganadel. Possibly trying to take out the Landorus in the following turn. Naganadel taking quite a bit of damage from that Fire Dance. I don't think Tapu Bulu would be able to take that. So there we see the Rock Slide. Naganadel's HP going way down. Not something like Naganadel not usually being the Pokemon that switches in to take hits, but I do believe Omar brought it in to do something with it. He wants to achieve something for sure, possibly a Tailwind or just knock out the Landorus. Volcarona going for the Protect. Volcarona, obviously Ali needs the Volcarona to stay alive, but I don't think he realized that Volcarona, while it is the main threat, he has to take out the Landorus. So right now we're seeing 4 versus 1 against Ali's Volcarona. It's going to be pretty tough. I don't think Volcarona would be able to take on all 4 of his Pokemon. But I do believe Omar has this game pretty much locked up. I really like how Omar decided to, how Omar adjusted to things. And there we see the Z move that's devastating to Dragonium Z from the Naganadal. I do not think that's enough to take out the Volcarona, but it should put it within range for a second hit to take it out. Actually, a clean knockout. Was that a critical hit? Actually, it wasn't. So I guess that was a Z Draco Meteor, considering how powerful that was. Very well played by Omar, and very unfortunate misplays by Ali. Hopefully let's see if Ali can turn it around and take this game. Or at least, take the next game. So both players being at 1-1, that's pretty interesting. We saw Ali round 1 doing pretty well, positioning himself much better overall. But Omar was able to turn things around in the second game, and there we see them starting the second match, second battle, or game. So far, we know the Lopunny is Omar's choice of Mega Evolution, while on Ali's side it's Kangaskhan. And Lopunny being faster than Kangaskhan and also carrying Fake Out, that leads to some interesting Fake Out choices. Like, there are some situations where you want to stop the Fake Out for your partner Pokemon to set up, but at the same time, Kangaskhan's partner is able to threaten both of your Pokemon, so you left with the choice: do I want to stop the Fake Out, or stop the other Pokemon, which may or may not be able to knock out one or two of your Pokemon. The timer is going down. Looks like Ali is spending more time choosing his Pokemon. Let's see who is able to take this game. So once again, Trainer Khalid here is actually Ali. He is using my cartridge. I am not playing. We see Ali leading with Landorus and Kangaskhan, while Omar is going for Lopunny and Nidoqueen. The question is, will Omar predict the Landorus switch, or will he go straight for an Ice Beam? And another question is, would Landorus actually go for an Earthquake here, despite the Kangaskhan next to it? There are a lot of things that can happen on either side, so it's going to be pretty interesting what each player decides to do. Omar can switch in the Tapu Bulu and go for an Ice Beam or something. And there we see him switching out the Nidoqueen, bringing in the Tapu Bulu. As we saw earlier, Tapu Bulu doesn't like taking the Ice Beam, Ice Punch from the Kangaskhan. There we see once again Mega Lopunny from Omar's side. And the Mega Kangaskhan from Ali's side. Fake Out onto the Kangaskhan, doing tons of damage with the critical hit. And U-turn onto the Lopunny, not doing so much, especially with it being not very effective. Let's see what he decides to bring in. I'm assuming possibly Volcarona. Actually bringing in Tapu Fini, interestingly enough. that Tapu Fini is not safe at all. I'm not sure why he brought it in, but I'm assuming he just brought it in for the grassy terrain. Yeah, just to take out the grassy terrain and bring in its own terrain to make sure Tapu Bulu doesn't do too much damage onto whatever Pokemon. I'm assuming he's probably going to bring in Volcarona at this point, or possibly Landorus. No, Tapu Fini still probably doesn't want to take the Wood Hammer. Landorus is going to intimidate both of Omar's physical attackers. You see a F what? Okay, yeah. After you fails, if your target is going to be the next target anyway, I mean the next Pokemon to move, so it just fails. So if let's say, as we saw earlier, Landorus switched in, Tapu Fini protected, so the last two remaining Pokemon to move in the turn are Lopunny and Tapu Bulu. So after you would fail because the turn order did not change anyway. So there we see the Encore. It's going to stop the Tapu Fini from doing anything, and we will finally actually see which Pokemon is faster. Tapu Fini is actually faster than the Tapu Bulu, though all things considered, I guess we should have figured that out, because Tapu Fini is actually faster than the Landorus, and Landorus is faster than the Tapu Bulu. Let's see what the U-turn will bring in. We see the Kangaskhan coming back in. Wood Hammer hitting the Kangaskhan. Tapu Fini is right now a very good target to hit it with a Wood Hammer, though potentially he could bring in the Volcarona here, potentially. So interestingly enough, we haven't seen the Volcarona yet. So we see the Lopunny switching out, and in comes the Nidoqueen. And the Tapu Fini switches out for the Landorus to come back in. Landorus is Intimidate. I believe the Tapu Bulu is at -2 right now. -2 attack. Double Edge onto the Tapu Bulu should be enough to knock it out. Yep. Just enough damage from the first hit to not activate its berry. There we see the Lopunny coming back in. Landorus is in an interesting position. I mean, he could, Omar could go for a fake out on the Landorus, or just a return or Drain Punch onto the Kangaskhan. Landorus might just do a manual switch instead of the usual U-turn. We'll see if Omar can call this switch or not, depending if Ali decides to switch. Okay, no switch there. Possibly we may see the U-turn, or maybe even Ali possibly predicting the knockout onto his Kangaskhan, so he may decide to just go for an Earthquake. No, actually he just went for the U-turn onto the Nidoqueen. Let's see if he decides to go for some other move instead of Ice Beam. We see Omar's expression. He's hoping for something, it seems. He's hoping for something. Let's see. Clearly, I do believe Omar is predicting something, judging by his expression. He's like, okay, that's fine. So a Sludge Bomb onto the Volcarona. That's actually pretty good. It's going to do good damage. That's a lot of damage. Of course, no chance for poison because of the terrain, but that terrain is gone now. And there we see the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is Ali's Tapu Fini is actually pretty fast. But we'll see. Okay, there's always the after you from Omar's Lopani going for a sludge bomb, a very fast sludge bomb onto the Tapu Fini, surviving this sludge bomb. That mattered so much. We may see. Okay, we're seeing the quiver dance and possibly a muddy water. Actually, a moonblast from the Tapu Fini might not be enough to knock out the Lopani, as we saw last time. Yeah. So right now, Volcarona should be the fastest Pokemon in the field right now, depending on how it's built. Volcarona can be the fastest Pokemon right now, but it all comes down to how much speed is invested to it. Lopani is a very, very, very fast Pokemon. I think it's like 135 or 140. I forgot exactly how much. I just remember it's super fast. So it will all depend on how fast the Lopani is and possibly going for it. Okay, there we see the Protect. What are we going to see now? Giga Drain onto the Lopani. Just enough damage to knock it out and heal up some of its HP. Let's see Omar. What is he going to do? Sludge Bomb onto the Tapu Fini, which is protecting right now. So Omar is right now down to his last two Pokemon. It's Naganadel. So it's like two full HP Pokemon, but versus two half HP Pokemon. I would imagine Omar needs to get rid of that Volcarona as soon as possible. And it will all come down to who decides to protect what, I believe. We see the Volcarona going for the Protect, and seems like Omar's, going by Omar's expression, he may have doubled into it, and there we see the Muddy Water into Omar's Pokemon. It did so much damage on the Nidoqueen, even reducing its accuracy. Sludge Bomb also onto the Volcarona. He predicted the wrong Pokemon, unfortunately. But there's still a chance for Omar, considering Ali's timer is actually pretty low, got down to 30 seconds. So there's always the plan B, which is try to stall out your opponent by time. There we see the Protect onto the Nidoqueen. Volcarona going for the Fiery Dance onto the Nidoqueen, and Naganadel going for the Sludge Bomb onto the Volcarona. Not enough to knock it out. Should have went for the Dragonium Z there. Tapu Fini going for the Muddy Water, not affecting the Nidoqueen. But we see one important detail, which is Naganadel is actually slower than the Volcarona. Actually, we keep missing this information, this detail. We already saw Volcarona faster than Lopani, so that point doesn't matter, I suppose. Fiery Dance should be enough to knock out the Nidoqueen. And Volcarona's special attack went up. And Sludge Bomb onto the Tapu Fini should be enough to knock it out. Beast Boost, boosting its special attack. If only it had that special attack boost from the start. We see Landros coming in with over half HP. And actually, Ali has 7 seconds left. Omar can just go for a Protect here and just double Protect. Yeah, he went going for the protect. I think Omar knows what he's doing here. Not many players know what to do, and Ali being the lesser experienced player may not be very aware of his situation. And time is up, and Omar taking game 3. Ali not aware of his situation in the last few turns. Very unfortunate for Ali, but this is the game right now. You need to think fast on your feet. Take your decisions fast. Don't spend too much time thinking. So good games, but always remember to speed up the pace, especially when you only have a total of 5 minutes to play your match. In any case, let's start with the winner interview. Just give me a second, and we'll start in a second. And we're back with Omar, winner of the previous match, having winning 2-1 with the last round going down to time. Were you aware of the time?
I was aware. That's why I was protecting in the last turn. So
okay, yeah. So this is always like what you do if your opponent is like very slow. Like some players may think, oh, it's a very disgusting thing to do. You're just wasting your opponent's time and to grab a cheap one. But this is the game. The game decides this. It's not us. And if it's the game who decides this, you might as well just go for it. I mean, the game gives us strong Pokemon. Use strong Pokemon. The game gives you a short time. Make use of it. I mean, people are already using those chancy minimized teams, and the whole goal is just to make your opponent run out of time. And
the advantage I had was that I was only using one Pokemon, so I can quickly.
Oh yeah, that as well. You only had one Pokemon. He had to choose which Pokemon he had to switch in. The game doesn't do it automatically for you, and then he has to choose moves for two Pokemon.
Exactly.
So that I believe that hurt him a lot. Which actually against Chansey, some people do is actually knock out their partner Pokemon, so they get more time or at least more turns to or at least waste less time, to be more exact.
Correct.
So your Lopunny, I actually have a question about your Lopunny. I noticed like sometimes you delay the Mega Evolution. So what's the purpose of that?
Well, Lopunny is a fighting type, so normally it's weak to Moonblast, Psychic types, and everything like that. So while it's still in normal form, it would take hits more better.
Okay, yeah, okay, I can see where you're going with that. So
but then I saw that he's not going to take advantage of that type weakness, so I just Mega Evolved.
Yeah, I noticed. Like earlier on, you were like delaying it a bit and doing here and that, and then like later on, when I started bringing up, I noticed that he doesn't evolve it right away. Then you stopped evolving it right away, so I was like, okay. What else on your team? You have After You on your Lopunny, which is a pretty interesting move choice for a Mega Evolution, since Mega Evolutions are usually the most offensive Pokemon. But your Lopunny is more supportive.
More supportive.
So, and the rest of your team is actually where most of your offense is. Like you have Tapu Bulu, which hits really hard. You have Naganadel, which hits really hard, really fast. You have you have Pelipper, which is more defensive, but at the same time, it's there to support.
Aegislash, who I haven't brought in, was supposed to also like surprise any opponents.
Okay.
Like if I had to run into a psychic terrain or something, then of course Shadow Sneak wouldn't work. After You on Aegislash would use his Shadow.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. That's actually pretty fun. That's very interesting. Just trying to remember what happened in the match. Game you lost. I believe you lost game one.
Game one.
Okay, but then you adjusted for game 2? How did you think going into game 2?
Well, initially I thought Philipper would be a good counter to Volcarona, but apparently that I had to deal with his Landorus, and Landorus was not doing the things that I expect him to do. He kept switching out, and so I thought another way to another Pokemon that would be able to handle fire type attacks would be Naganadel, since it's a dragon type.
Yeah, okay, but it's not particularly defensive.
Not particularly defensive, but at least again it can mitigate some of the damage out of it.
Yeah, I suppose, but still, it's like half of its HP or a third or so, which is still too much.
Still too much, and then you have Tapu Fini with its muddy water. So the most resistant to both attacks would be Naganadel in my head, and somehow it worked out.
Yeah, I suppose that was your only option at that point, and you brought it to do what it needs to do, which is try to hit something and knock something out.
Exactly.
So I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you for playing. Congratulations on winning this match, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much.